Because it showed us originally the Jews, but then it shows us ourselves, because we're no different than them. We're no different than them in the sense that we have been stewarded things, and we have to make sure that in our stewardship we don't forget who the owner is. See, we've been redeemed and given all good things to enjoy. We've been given the keys to the kingdom of heaven. We have made the spiritual Israel. But if we don't recognize that's who we are, we'll start doing the same things. We'll slide into patterns in which we start to not pay attention to who the owner of everything is. Now, Matthew 25. Let's start at verse 14. So 21 started with the kingdom. Here's another parable about the kingdom. Chapter 25, verse 14 says, "For the kingdom of heaven is like a man traveling to a far country, who called his own servants and delivered his goods to them. And to one he gave 5 talents, to another he gave 2, and to another gave 1, each one according to his own ability. And immediately he went on a journey." Now, the kingdom of heaven is like. So he's making a contrast. When you think about the kingdom, if you're trying to understand the kingdom, here's what the kingdom is like. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who's going away on a trip. He's going on a journey, and he leaves his possessions to his servants. So there's a couple of things here when we talk about stewardship that I want to point out from this passage. Now, number one, if we don't pay attention to our stewardship, we will fall into patterns where we don't recognize what we're actually here to do. So it's easy to become one of those unprofitable vine dressers who then forgets why you're there, that you're there to bring a harvest back for the master. And then we start looking at things in the wrong way. So in here, he starts talking about this man who is going away, and he leaves his goods to a group of people who he has identified as his own. So the first thing we have to understand about stewardship is you're a steward because you have been selected and called by God's name. The very first principle of stewardship is the stewardship of identity. That you have been called by God's name, and because you're called by God's name, your identity is the first thing that he stewards to you. You are someone. And you're supposed to be a good steward of your new identity. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 17 says, "If any man be in Christ, he is a
new creation."
A new creation, a new man. He's a new thing. He's a new creation. Put your hand on your own heart and say, "I am a new creation."
I am a new creation.
First thing, you have been stewarded a new identity. You're leasing an identity from God. And my question for you is, if you've leased a new identity with God, and somebody comes and tells you, "I see that you're a new creation," will you kill the messenger?